May. And I'm here with my very first speed paint. Yay! Today we're going to be drawing Volo from Pokemon Legends Arceus. I'm super excited. He's my favorite Legends Arceus character. There will be some spoiler talk. I tried to keep it to a minimum, but there is some. So I think that's all I really need to say as far as preamble. So let's get on to the drawing, okay? So one thing I knew I wanted, the only thing I knew I wanted to do with this Volo drawing is to do his, like, one pose whenever he's telling you stuff. So we start out with the sketch of that, and just figuring out where everything goes kind of went pretty easily. Then we just kind of put in more details, figure out how his hair works, his hat works. His hat's really floofy. I didn't notice that while I was playing the game. But his hat is actually, like, fuzzy. I really, like, that threw me for a loop. But, did anybody else notice that before now? Because I definitely didn't. But anyway, almost forgot his backpack, but I remembered that before too terribly long, before we got too far into it. His backpack's kind of important. Had a little trouble with this finger, but we got there. We got there eventually. I love Volo. He's one of my favorite characters. He's definitely my favorite Legends Arceus character. A lot of my favorite characters are kind of crazy, and he is no exception. I adore him. He's eccentric and crazy, and what is a better combination? Like, oh wait. I don't think you guys can come up with anything, so I'm gonna stop waiting now. I really liked how the apron turned out here, but I had to start over because I forgot to make his pants long enough. I have a lot of trouble with his pants in this drawing. Like, you'll see as I go on, this is not the end of my pants trouble. I play with what to do with this foot. For a little bit, because it doesn't look right. Like, you can see that this foot's kicked out whenever he's whenever he's doing his little finger wag thing. But you never actually see the foot. So kind of made it up. Now we're getting into the line art. I really love how I did the eyes. I really love how I did a lot of the line art. I ended up deciding that I wanted the light to come from upper left, so that's why I switched my line weights there, where I had to redo the face. But I'm really liking how I'm really liking how easy it was to go with. Like, I've been on point with my line art recently. But yeah, he's a fun character. I really, like, I loved him from the start. I loved him even more after the second ending. Like, the second ending was just, he became a favorite. He went from, I like him and Adamant and Arizu and Melly all about equally, to I love Volo. Because I really love characters who are just a bit unhinged. And Volo is nothing if not a bit unhinged. So I had a lot of fun with this arm that's closest to us, getting all those wrinkles in, and I had a lot of fun shading it later on. You'll see. I'm actually pretty proud of how that hand turned out. Like, I'm not good at foreshortening. I've never been good at foreshortening. I practice it a lot, but I'm not good at it. And that's okay. I never give up. But I think I did a pretty decent job on that hand. Less good of a job on this hand, but it still works. I'll be honest, I really kind of wanted to draw him in the second ending outfit, but I couldn't find a good reference that had for like the full body. So I was like, well, I guess I'm doing him as a merchant instead. And the reason I wanted to draw him in his second ending appearance is solely so I can draw an unhinged expression on his face. That is the only reason. So I didn't quite get that. Went with something a little bit more friendly, and that's okay. I really think that this is good for getting to know how to draw Volo. This is most definitely not going to be the only time I draw Volo. So I had to change the white that I used, the off-white that I used for whites of like the eye and teeth, because it did turn out to be a little yellow. I'm just putting in some flats here. Not much to say about that. Just putting them in, just kind of vibing. Just doing my eyedropper best life. Now we're getting back into the interesting part. So in true K fashion, I completely forgot which angle I wanted my light source to be from. So let's have some F's in the comments for this beautiful shading that I did here, and then immediately had to erase and color over, because I really liked how that shading I really liked how that shading had turned out. I was so sad. But I had drawn all of the line weights with the idea that I was going to be doing the lighting from upper left and not upper right. And I figured it would be easier just to go over the face and the hair than to go over every bit of line. Thankfully, I don't make that mistake again in this piece. I will make this mistake again in the future. I have never learned from any mistakes ever. But yeah, I had a lot of fun with this arm yet again, and all of the fluff. All of his fluff is great. It's great, it's fun to color. I love it. I actually went real ham on, like, shading, like, rendering. I usually don't do as much shading as I did here. Like, I did 2 layers of shading. And I tried rim lighting. You'll see that in a little bit. But I was really liking how he was turning out, and he was like, it's just like he was missing something. So I added another layer of shading after this. But we're giving his boots a little bit of shadow. And then I realized that his weird pants did not look right. His weird pants never look right. I don't know how they work. Tell me how they work, guys, because I don't know. I still don't know. I messed with it for a little bit, and I still don't know. But anyway, we're getting into our second layer of shading. Getting some of those darkest darks in there. much with two shadow layers in a while, but I might go back to it because I really like the depth that it gave Volo. We're still having fun with that arm. I love that arm so much. I had a little too much fun with that arm, but that's okay. We're putting the last bits of shadow on here. Now we're going into highlights. Oh, no, we're putting a little bit more shadow. Now we're going into highlights. I promise. I kind of jumped around a little bit because I kept deciding things. But yeah, I decided I was going to try rim lighting. I like how it turned out for only ever having tried it once or twice before. I don't know if I did too much or too little in regards to rim lighting. Something I'm gonna have to practice with and play around with. I felt like I was pushing it too far, but at the same time, I felt like I wasn't pushing it far enough. It's one of those things where you're like, do I put it on everything? Do I put it on nothing? Where is the middle ground? But we're getting to the end of Volo, and I'm realizing right around here that I don't want him to necessarily just be floating in space. So I decided I'm gonna make up a background. At this point, I have no idea what I'm doing. Like, I have no plans. I debated putting just a color in the shape that I was making. But I didn't actually go through with that. Because that just seemed boring. So I was like, well, maybe I'll do a really quick landscape. Because he always seems to run into you in the wild or like at the edge of town. Decided against that. I was like, that feels too generic. So, in honor of him battling you at a spear pillar at the Temple of Sinnoh, I decided I was gonna put one of those pillars back there. And I kept playing around with it until it didn't look boring to me. A little signature. And there we have it! Ta-da! Here's Volo! I really like how he turned out. Hope you guys did too. He was really fun to draw, and I'm actually really glad that I did the pillar in the end. I think that turned out real nice. Thank you for joining me. Hopefully I will do more of these in the future. If you like them, please give a thumbs up. Let me know in the comments. Because I'm trying a few new things. But yeah. Keep an eye out. And that's all for me. Bye-bye.